everyone. My name is Tasneem. I'm the senior manager at 98 percentile in the HR department. And today we did a wonderful drive with XLR. It was amazing right from the very beginning, from the very first day when I got in touch with them till today. I think it was an extremely smooth journey with them. There were multiple follow-ups done by the representatives in order to check that we would be, what time we would be coming, how many people would be coming, what vehicle we would get. To that extent, they were so precise in giving all the information to us. It was extremely great to get associated with them and have a drive at XLR campus. So we are very, very happy that we got a chance to do this. Now, coming to the students, what XLR had, I think they were extremely enthusiastic. They were well prepared. They were aware of what they are coming for. I think there was some back-end preparation which they did that was commendable. They also were very confident and they were open to any kind of thing we were asking them to do. That was I think the best part. Now, I really hope we have a very, very fruitful association with each one of them and XLR in future. We are really looking forward to have many more drives like this.
Hi everyone, my name is Prachi Sharma and I'm the Senior Project Manager for IT Department at 90th percentile. So today we were here for this IT bootcamp, right, this technical drive and at XLR. So it was a great experience and I would feel that the students, they are the freshers, right, but it doesn't seem like that. So if I talk about their technical and cognitive ability, they all seems pretty good in that and that's what I felt. And I guess they have been taught pretty well at XLR, so that's how they have performed good in their aptitude and the technical tests. So I wish them all the best and it was a very great experience over here.
Hi, this is Patan, Technology Consulting Manager from 98th percentile. We visited XLR for the campus placement drive and it went very well today. Miss Ambika, Miss Pragati, everyone received us greatly here and we had a lot of enjoyable time here. The students even had great experience with us. They were interactive, they had good aptitude and all the technological skills they showed. I think they were all well and we really appreciate their time that they spared to us and I think we will be doing a great job. We are expecting a lot of people to be hired from them. Let's see. it was a great experience altogether.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
From entering into the cyber tower to exiting out of this tower, the XLR team has been received me with such a care and pleasure.
I am the part of this XLR since 4 months. From the third month itself, they have conducted the placement sessions from the third month itself, and this is the fourth month, and this is the 98th percentile is one of the placement drive I have attended so far, and attending to this drive is such a good experience for me. All the HRs and the team made us feel very comfortable and confident.
XLR helped me a lot, and I experienced a lot of things today. So I'm really hope to be I placed in that company. I'm confident about that. Thank you.
Good evening all. So we'll start with the session. So Hemant, you can take it forward.
All right. Thank you, Amar. A very good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining again. And this would be the second day of our Python training, Python plus SQL, right? And I can see that again, we have a great number in the audience. A very big pat on the back to you all. So this is a big step, right, guys? Because I can see that all of you have taken this seriously, that you want this to be a part of your career, right? And that is a really amazing thing. Yeah. Thank you. Right. So let's get started. I will be sharing my screen. Let me know once you get it. Right. And can you all just confirm if my audio is all clear and my screen is visible? All right. Yes, it's clear. Cool. We'll get started. So yesterday we went through the Python introduction, where we understood the programming cycle of Python and why to use Python and how Python came to be, right? And we also went through the various IDEs, or the integrated development environments, to code Python in. So we also understood what are the job opportunities that we can have when we get into Python. And it is literally endless, right? What we saw in the list, it can be more than that. So we saw about 10, 10 of them already, but there can be still more, right? So Python is a very interpreted and a versatile language, which can help us to, write the script. And we are going to be solving a lot of business problems with the help of this programming language. Okay. So yesterday we got a chance to take a look at our lovely IDE, which is Jupyter Notebook. I hope you are all able to install Python and configure the notebook as well within your systems. If yes, please let me know in the chat. Yes. Okay. Cool. Earlier, it was quite complicated to install Python, but I guess the developers, they have understood that we have to make it easy. We have to have a better user experience when it comes to installation of our product, right? So it is pretty clear and simple these days. And for the folks who were, maybe if you had any technical difficulties, or maybe if your laptop or your desktop is not really powerful enough, you can easily go into the Colab notebook, which is by Google. So let me just show you that. One moment. So go into collab.google.com, or in short, collab.google. So open a new notebook. So you can either choose to open a new notebook, or you can have it imported as well. Okay. So with the help of this, you can easily start coding Python. It is very similar to your Jupyter notebook, and you can see the user interface. It is almost the same, right? What we have here and here. So you can execute it cell by cell. You can add a code block, or it can be a single line or a block of code within each cell, and you can execute them one by one, right? So you can use this, and you can see that if you connect, it is going to allocate some amount of memory, that is both RAM as well as your ROM, that is for the storage. So you can see that there is about 12 GB, 12.68 GB of RAM and 107 GB of the storage, right? So which is a great thing, right? So this is connected to the Python engine, which is running on Google. It is not running on your system, by the way. And it is not going to take any sort of resource within your system because this is just your browser trying to communicate with the servers on Google. Okay, you have both the options. This is going to require no configuration at all. So therefore, you have both the both the choices now, either Jupyter or Colab. So the choice is yours. Okay. Right. So we looked at a few data types, that is number and string, right? The number consists of integer and then floating point. So there is no explanation needed for these. Integer is nothing but your whole number without any decimals, and your floating point contains some decimal values along with the whole number, right? Then we have the string. So string can be anything, any kind of string. It can have uppercase, lowercase letters, right? Then you can have numerics. Then you can have special characters, right? Anything. It can have spaces or whatever it can have, right? So this is nothing but a string. Okay, it is pretty simple and straightforward. You will be using string extensively as well as the numeric values, right? And then we have the list. Before that, we have the Boolean, of course. So Boolean is nothing but your binary data. What we have learned in electronics as 0 and 1, that is false or true, right? So we have true and false within our Python. So this can be used to apply some logical operations, right? So bitwise operations. So those can be used. Then we have the list. List is nothing but a set of elements where you can add a bunch of them, like a bunch of strings, a bunch of floating values, a bunch of integers, right? Or it could be the Boolean values as well. So that is your list. And there is something called as a tuple or a tuple, whichever the pronunciation suits, right? So the tuple is nothing but very similar to a list, okay? But the only thing is it cannot be modified. The primary property of a tuple is the immutability, right? We call it as immutability, or the property is immutable. So immutable means you cannot change the values of the tuple, and it would look something like this. The same can be written as a tuple, okay? And it would look something like this, okay? And I'm going to name it as fruits underscore tuple. This is just for your example, okay? And whereas the list can be mutable, the property of list is mutable. What does it mean? It can be changed, okay? So that is how we have the data structures, okay, the data types, right? Okay. So we are going to be understanding the accessing of data and manipulation of data, a little after this, but let us understand the rest of the data structures as well. Okay, we have a dictionary. A dictionary which looks something like this. Okay, it contains key value pairs, name, John, and you can say age is 30. Okay, and this can be allocated to a variable, and we can call it as person. So we want to name the variables as relevant as possible, right? So the idea behind naming the variables is to understand what it contains. So if I name this as A or X, Y, Z, you may understand it now, within this class, but you are not going to know what XYZ means in the near future, right? That is the reason why we try to name them as relevant as possible. Doesn't matter if the variable name is too long, it is too descriptive, okay? Try not to make it extremely long, but you have to ensure that the variable name speaks for itself. It tells the user, it tells the developer what it contains, okay? So here it is pretty simple, right? If you just look at the variable, you will know that it can be a list of fruits, right? Here it can be a tuple of fruits. So therefore, I'm going to name this as person. So it is about staying relevant. And if you just try to print this, okay, you must have remembered the debugger from yesterday's class. So one of them is print. So one of the debugging tools is print, where we are going to be able to actually output the variable data. Okay, so here it says it is not defined. Why? Because we haven't run this cell yet. Right? There is no number allocated in this, on the left hand side. You can see wherever you see the numbers, it shows at what point they were executed, right? So this was executed first, second, third, fourth, and so on. But these haven't been executed yet. These cells haven't been executed at all. So we can do this, right? Let us restart the kernel and run all the cells. So therefore, we will be able to run all the cells at once. Okay. So here we can see we have we were able to print the dictionary value, that is the person. So it contains a key value pair. On the left hand side, what you see, name is John, age is 30. So name becomes your key and John is your value. Again, age is key and 30 is value, right? Let's say that there are 10 people, okay, and the key is going to be the same for everyone, only that the value changes, correct? So therefore you can access the detail of the people using the key. So what is the detail that you are concerned about? You are concerned about the value. You want to know what the value is. So how are you going to access it? It is through the key. So how do we do that? We are going to look at it. Okay. Next, we will get back to strings first, because there are quite a lot of types within the strings, right? Strings are nothing but your sequence of characters enclosed in a single or double quotes, right? So this is a string. Okay, I will say my string is something. Okay, something here is a string. So if you have to define it in a technical way, you can say strings are sequences of characters which are enclosed in single or double quotes. Here we have enclosed them in double quotes, and we can also use the single quotes, right? Let me just add another one. My string 2. Okay. Pardon me for using such variables, but I want to show you what are the types of string that exists. Okay. So one more is the single quotes. Okay. So these are the regular strings, and the regular strings are the most common. Okay. So the regular strings are the most common that we use in Python program. Okay. Then comes multi-line strings. Okay. So multi-line strings can be written with the help of, again, quotations, but it is just that the number of quotes will differ. Okay. I string 3. I'm going to use 3 quotes. Therefore, I can write any number of lines within this. Okay. This is an example of a multi-line string. So this entire thing becomes one string. So can we try to print this now? Right? And when I print this, you can see that there are some special characters which have been used. Right here, you can see that /n has been added. But do you see that anywhere in the string? Not at all, right? So this is called as a new line character. So why a new line? Because I have pressed enter and then added my string. Okay. And here I've added another line after pressing one more enter key. So therefore, it is the new line. It goes into the new line. So how does your system understand how the string has to be formatted? It is through this new line character, that is /n. Okay, so it can be stored like this and it can be represented in this way. Okay, so that is how multi-line string works. And the same can be used with double quotes like this. Okay, it is still going to be the same. Okay, then we have raw strings. Okay, raw strings are used when you want to treat the backslashes. What are the backslashes? These are the ones, right? As literal characters. Okay, so what, this is just nothing but n. But how do we know that this is a special character? It is through the backslash. So backslash acts as a escape character in this case. So escape character is the one which treats the preceding characters as some sort of notation, right? In this case, /n is read as new line. In other cases, you have /t, which is a representation of a tab space. Okay. All right. So raw strings, as I said, they are used when you want to treat the backslashes as literal characters other than escape characters. So we can see how we can write them. So an example of a raw string can be something like this, which starts with a small r, and it can go like this. With /n new line. Okay. So when you print this, you can see that there is another slash added before the slash that we have. It means that it will not take this as a new line anymore, right? Because it has added escape character for the escape character, what we have. So this escape character will not work at all, right? So that is what we mean by the raw string, where the backslashes will be treated as the literal characters. It is nothing but another character. That's it. But in this case, it is a special character for us. Okay. So next, we have Unicode strings. So Unicode strings start with U. Raw string starts with the lowercase r. And this one starts with a lowercase u, right? So this is a Unicode string, and you can have a Unicode like 0394. Okay. So what Unicode strings do is they work with the Unicode characters, right? And you must know what the Unicode characters are. So if you just look at this, so these are used to make the special symbols, right? And there are a lot of Unicode characters like this, right? Generally, they will be written with both numerical and the alphabetical orders, right? You can create emojis, you can create symbols like this using the Unicode characters, right? So here we have created a triangle, right? So it says this is a Unicode string and this has been decoded, right? This is an encoded format and this has been decoded into a triangle now, right? So that is how Unicode strings work. But if you apply the same in other strings, it is not going to be transformed. Okay. So in this case, you can add your emojis, any other symbols that you want, so that you can format your strings in a better way and a more meaningful way. Okay. So you can ask where these can be used, and you have the answer right in front of you, right? It can be used in your mobile where you are using your WhatsApp, you're using your Instagram, or any application like that, right? Where all these special characters can be seen. So these are nothing but your Unicode strings. Okay. Next, we have byte strings. So byte strings, if we want to store the data as a binary data, so we make use of a byte string. And these are nothing but your variable names. Do not get confused. You are not supposed to think that this is how we actually write a byte string. Again, it can be X, Y, Z also, but we want it to be meaningful. Okay, so byte string is generally represented with the lowercase b, and this is a byte string. Okay, and when you try to print this, okay, it says this is a byte string along with the b, because why it does this is it is just to show the user that this is a byte string format. It will be having zeros and ones inside. So your computer understands nothing but your binary data, zeros and ones, right? But we as humans, we are not capable of understanding them, except for smaller digits. So not the bigger ones. So just for the representation, it says this is a byte string along with the B. So you will be able to understand what kind of string it is. Okay. Then you have your formatted strings. Okay. So formatted strings, or they are also called as F strings. So formatted strings can look something like this. So, and it starts with an F. Hello. And you can say name, and where name can be any variable. Okay. So formatted strings can be used to embed the expressions and variables within the strings. And we just prefix that string with an F. Okay. So if there is any name here, we already have a name called Alice, right? So if you just try to print this formatted string, it says, hello, Alice. And where is Alice coming from? From line number 3. Okay. So it is able to remember that variable anywhere. So that is how the variables work. You can reuse them. That is the reason why we store them in variables instead of defining them again and again. I can write Alice here again, okay, as a string, but it doesn't serve the purpose, correct? Variables are not going to serve their purpose if we do something like this. So, and this is called as a soft coding of data. And if I write Alice here, it means, it is hard coded value. And if I say name, this is going to be a soft coded value. Okay, you will encounter these kind of terminologies in your work, right? Where uh, you will be generally hard coding data when you're trying to bring up a mock screen or something like that, or some mock data. But when you have actual data in your database, you are going to soft code the values through the variables. Okay, right. So that is about the different kinds of strings. So what are the kind of strings that we saw? The regular string. So these are the regular strings. Then we saw the multi-line strings, when we want to define strings that can span multiple lines. It can go up to any number of lines. Okay. Then we saw the raw strings, right, which will treat all the special characters, that is the backslashes, as the literal characters, right? Then we saw the Unicode strings, right, where the Unicode characters can be defined, just like what we did. No, we added a symbol of a triangle. Okay. Then we saw the byte strings. So byte strings are the ones which can store the binary data. Okay. So why would you store a binary data? You will learn that in the later sessions, but just understand that you are not going to be transporting the data in the same format. Okay. You may be storing the data in a different format. Okay. Encoding, right? Encoding is a process where you are going to change the format of your data and store them so that you can decode them later. Okay. Then you have your formatted strings. So where you can embed your expressions or variables within the strings. So you can give 2 plus 2, right? So that is going to change the value to 4. So this is nothing but an expression, right? And you can also give any other variable. So
Hemant,
that is
sorry to
about,
disturb you. Hello.
yeah, hi.
Actually, problem is that now there are YouTube participants. They're not able to see the screen properly. Can you please increase the font size a little bit?
One moment.
Yes, please.
Does this work?
Yeah, I think it will work. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please confirm, because if I increase it too much, I don't think we can actually see a lot of things on the screen. But I
Yeah.
guess this is an optimal,
Yeah, this one is okay. Thank you
optimal
so much.
size. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Please, can you guys confirm if this is visible enough? And if not, do let me know. Okay. So sometimes YouTube also provides a way to expand your screen depending on your screen size. Just if you're on your phones, try to pinch zoom it, right? Or get into a bigger screen. That would be a better experience for you guys, right? Okay, right. I hope the concepts are clear till here. Any questions so far? Okay, no questions. Wonderful. Let's move on to the next topics. Okay, so we are done with the strings, and we looked into what a list is, what a tuple is, what a dictionary is, and so on. Right. So let us take a list now. Okay. Let's create the same list somewhere below so that it is visible for us. Okay. So we have a list of fruits, and how do we access these, right? So this is nothing but a data structure where these data types have been embedded into a proper structure, right? We want all these fruits to be in one container, you can say, right? Instead of saying The same thing can be written as fruit 1, apple, fruit 2, banana. I hope you are getting the gist of it, right? Let's say that there are n number of fruits. So this is going to go up to fruit n. Is this what you want to do? Of course not, right? This is probably the worst way that you can define your data. So therefore, in order to keep them in an organized manner, we have the data structure list. So therefore, you can put all of them together and process them as you require. So therefore, you can access them individually as well, right? So how do we do that? It is with something called as index. So index is nothing but your position within the list. And index starts with 0. So it always starts with 0 and goes up to n. So 0 to n. And here it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay. So you can take a guess here that apple is in the 0th index or the 0th position. Banana is in the first position or the first index, and cherry is in the second index. So how do we access this? It is quite simple, right? Let's say we want to print this, right? Or it's easy. Fruits of index. So this gives us apple, right? Because it is able to fetch the data through the position of the the string. All right, our string is nothing but apple and its index is 0. So if you give 2, it gives us cherry, right? So if you give 3, what happens? What may happen? There is no fruit in the third position, right? So it says list index out of range, right? And the error is termed as index error, right? I can see that there are some questions. Okay. So byte string, guys, if you have any questions, ask right away. I did give you guys a chance then. So byte string, it is nothing but this will be converted into your zeros and ones, right? It will not be in a human readable format. This is a machine readable format. Okay, it is encoding them into a stream of bytes. Okay, so this can be used in various use cases. When you are storing your data, you don't want to store it in the actual format, actual string. You may change this, right? So that is one of the use cases, and there are many more. Okay, so that is when we make use of a byte string. Okay, right. And I can see that overview of all the strings. Yeah, please refer to the recorded video. Okay, so you will understand what each kind of string will do in this case. Okay, right. So let's get back into our the list. So we were dealing with the indices, right? So I gave 3. So what happens? There is nothing here. So we have 0, 1, and 2. So there is nothing at the third index. So therefore, it says list index out of range, right? It is quite simple. Okay. So next, we had tuple, right? So the same tuple, we can bring it down. Okay. So before that, let us try to modify the list, right? So we can say in the second element, we want to change this. And so fruits of 1, right? The second element corresponds to the first index. Okay, it is not going to be 2 here. 2 will point to the third position. Okay, position is always one step ahead of the index, right? Because the index always starts with 0. Okay. So fruits of 1. So I can change this just by assigning it, right? So you can give kiwi. And then what happens? You can check this by printing the same fruits variable. And you can see it has been changed now. Your original list was apple, banana, and cherry. Now it has been changed to apple, kiwi, and cherry because we were able to modify this, right? And the primary property of any list is mutability. Mutability is nothing but you can change them or you can modify them, right? So next, we can add items into the list, right? So how do we do that? It is through the append keyword. So fruits or the list dot append, right? To generalize it, it will be list dot append. In our case, list is nothing but fruits. So list dot append, I'll give orange. Okay, so then what happens if we print the fruits? Another item has been added into our list. That is at the end. You can see it was not added in the first position. It was not added in somewhere in the middle, right? Trying to sort it or anything. No, of course not, right? But it added or it appended the new item at the end of the list, right? Right. Okay. So you can remove something from the list as well. So we were able to append something, right? And we can also remove it as well. So fruits dot remove. So let's say I want to remove cherry, right? So when you do this, we were able to remove cherry from the list. So now that we have only 3 of them. Okay. Hope it all makes sense. Why do we use it? Because your list is not going to be the same all the time. You may want to make some changes. You may want to add something extra. So take an example where you're adding student details, right? You want to add one more student into the list, or you want to add an employee into the list, or you want to remove the employee from the list. So all of them can be done using the functions that are provided by the list. Okay. Right. So next we will look at the tuples. Okay, let's take another example. We'll call them as dimensions. Okay, could be the length, width, and height. 10, 20, 15. Okay. And generally, your dimensions are the ones that do not require any change, right? You want them to be constant. So that is when we make use of a data structure like tuple, because you don't really want to modify them, even intentionally or even by accident, right? Certain things are not meant to be modified. So that is when we make use of a tuple, right? It could be ID. ID is not going to change for a person, right? It could be an employee ID. It could be a student ID. Would it change? No, normally it doesn't change at all, right? Sometimes you want to store coordinates of a map that you do not want to change, which can be represented in the form of a tuple again, right? So there can be n number of usages for a data structure like tuple. Okay. So in this case, we have taken dimensions. Okay. So let's say that you want to access the data within this dimensions, and I'll give a variable. So width will be the first one. Okay. So therefore, I can access it as dimensions of 0. So that is going to give me what? 10. And if you check the width, it will contain 10 now, right? It is quite similar to your list. Only thing is, the main property of a tuple is immutability. You cannot change it at any cost, right? So that is what a tuple is. Okay. Right. And why don't we try to do that, right? That is one of the best things as a developer. You can fiddle around with your variables, you can fiddle around with your code to understand it much, much better. So what, let's say that the rule says, do not do this, right? So why don't I try this and see what happens, right? That should be the kind of curiosity that every developer should have, right? So what I would say is, you are not just a developer, you are also a researcher, right? It is not just the development. Okay, right. So width of 1 equals to 40. So what would happen in this case if I run? It says object does not support item assignment. Okay, so this is an object that is tuple, right? So this is an immutable object. So therefore, it does not support item assignment. Okay, right. Okay, we'll get into the dictionaries now. One moment. Yeah, let us take the same example then. Yes. Okay. So we have the person whose name is John and age is 30. Okay. So, and you can access them. How do you access them? You can access them individually, by the way. The person of age is going to give you 30, right? Person of name is going to give you John. So what is the notation? You make use of square brackets, and within that you pass the key. We are not passing the value like this. No, but instead we are passing the key into it. Okay. So the key is nothing but what we see on the left hand side. So this is in this format. Key colon value. And when you access the key, you will be able to access the value, right? So that is how objects work. Okay, so this is one of the most popular kind of data structure because it can store a versatile amount of, kind of data and a huge amount of data as well, right? So let's say that you want to store a lot of data for an employee. Okay, can we just create a data structure? So employee can have a data structure which looks like this. The same thing I have written with multiple lines, nothing else. Okay. So it can have a name, right? Then age, then employee ID, okay, and it can have certifications. So you might, when you're applying to any job, they're going to ask you what sort of certifications that you hold, right? Certifications. So here we are not just dealing with strings or numbers or anything. So not just that. We can deal with any kind of structures. So I can add a list. a list of certifications. So I'll say Python, I'll say SQL, I'll say React, and so on. It can go on, right? So that is on the, the how to structure your, the dictionaries, right? It is very similar to a JSON structure, right? Dictionaries, even though they are nothing but your key value pairs, one of the most popular structures out there is the JSON structure. It resembles exactly that. And JSON is a very popular data structure because it is used in numerous programming languages, and it is used to transport the complex data, right? We are not just going to be transporting data like name and age, right? You are going to be transporting a lot of data from the front end to the back end and vice versa. So therefore, you can use a structure like a dictionary, right? And dictionaries also allow you to add more data into it. That is through modification or the updation, you can say. So you can update the age if you want, right? Employee, if I print this, it is able to print all these data, right? Name, age, employee ID, certifications, and so on, right? So if you want to, if you made a mistake while adding this, you can change it, right? Employee of age, right? That is using the square brackets, provide the key which you want to modify, right? And say, update it with the actual value that you want, right? And now when you print this, you will be able to see that you have updated the data successfully, right? And then you can add a new key value pair if you want, right? So you have your employee data here, and you can add employee of city, right? And we can say New York. And when you do this, you can see that city also has been added as a new key value pair, right? And if you do not want any key value pair, imagine, right? So let's say that I do not want to take city anymore. Then you can just use the keyword delete, DEL. Sorry, we are not dealing with person, we are dealing with employee, right? Employee, and pass the actual key. So when you do this, you can see that city has been successfully removed. Okay, I hope it all makes sense, right? You can create data, you can modify them, right? You can play around with the data and add different kinds of structures or the data types within the same data. So that is how versatile. Yes. Yes, Chandana, you can add a tuple into a dictionary, right? But you can't really modify it later. Once you add it, you can't really modify that. Okay. Right. So that is how powerful a dictionary is. And you will not be just dealing with a simple data structure, like this, right? But instead, these data will be embedded within your data structures like your list or your dictionaries or your tuples, right? Because that is how programming works. It is not, you're not going to be just using a few variables and getting things done. You will need a lot of variables, a lot of proper structuring need to happen when you want to write a good code. Okay. we saw that we can write fruits as fruit 1, 2, 3, and so on. But you are not going to do that, right? So in order to avoid that kind of mishaps, you are going to be dealing with these kind of data structures. Okay. So any questions? I'll just take a little pause and yes, you can write a dictionary within a dictionary, right? Why don't you guys try it out today? Okay. So now that you have learned, it is nothing but you declare, just add a comma, add your key, right? And create another dictionary like this, right? Can you guys try it out? Okay, right. So, right, as an activity, take this. So create complex kind of data structures, go crazy, guys. Add Boolean data, add numeric data, add list, add list within a list. Okay, like this. Make it into two-dimensional. Okay. Right. So just play around with it until you get tons of errors. You will not be able to understand any programming language at its fullest, right? That is how you explore any language. Okay. Let's try this out. So I'll just pause again for the questions. So let me just take a look at the list. If we have too many employees data, how can we access? Okay, so for that we have the looping, which we are going to deal with it later. How to append at a particular position in the list. So what is position, Srishti? So I can see that your question is a valid one. And here you can see that, yes. So this is nothing but a position, right? Index is nothing but our position. And you can choose the first, the middle, or the last, anything that you want. Okay, but it depends on you how you want to make use of it. So that is how you can append it at a particular position. Instead of just using the append, you can just add the index there. Okay. How to print SQL? That is a different concept. We will be looking at it after day 10, guys. Can we add data based on conditions? Yes, of course. You can add data based on conditions as well, which we will be looking at when we get into the conditional statements, where we are going to look at if else, and so on. Okay. What if I want to append a duplicate? Yes, you can add duplicates as well. So try it out. You can, you can try it out by adding duplicate values, just like this. Try adding another name. Okay. All right. So let us take a short break, guys. It is close to 8 before we get back to the rest of the topics for today. So we will take break till 8:05. Okay. And we'll be back shortly. Okay, everyone. So we can resume the session now. Hope you're all good to go. If yes, please type in Y. Great. So we looked into different methods, within the different kinds of data structure. So we can look into further methods that we have, like let's take the list again. So instead of this, let me just discard that. We can make it simple with numbers. So my list contains a set of numbers 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we were able to add, or we were able to append at the end of the list using dot append, right? My list dot append of 4. What this gives us now? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So along with this, we have many more, like extend. If you want to sort of concatenate two different lists, right? Let's say my list dot extend, say 5, 6. And now it gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where 5 and 6 have been added from a different list, right? Although this is another list, this is one more. So they were combined, right? So they were extended. Okay. So one of them, they asked a question, I remember, where to add it, right? It is through the index. So my list dot insert. I'll say, let me just comment this out for now. Insert 1, 5. Okay. So what happens to the list now? So here it has, I wanted to insert 5. Sorry. Okay. So we were able to successfully insert 5 at the position of 1, right? 1 is what? 0 and 1. So this is the position where we want to add 5. So you can choose the position where you want, right? This can be n, whichever the number that you want, and this can be the value that you want to add into the list. Okay. I hope that answers your question, right? So we also looked into the remove function, where it takes the value and removes it. So one more that we have is pop. So my list dot pop, and you can pass the value, and it says second. Okay, it says 1, 2, 3, 4 because we were able to remove the item from the first index, right? So we were able to pass the position from where we wanted to remove. Okay, so that is how pop works. Okay, then we have dot index. So my list dot index, and pass the index into it. Right? That is, pass the element into it, and it returns the index. So if I pass 4, it returns 3. Why does it return 3? Because my list contains 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 exists at position 3. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. Therefore, I got the output as 3. And if I pass 3 into it, so if I pass 3 into it, it gives me 2. Why? Because it is at the second index, that is 0, 1, and 2. Okay. So you pass the actual element and it returns you with the index. So let's say I try to pass a number which doesn't exist. So it says 10 is not in the list, right? So if you ask me where you can use index, it is quite simple. You can use this in any sort of searching mechanism, right? If you pass any item into the index function, it will return some sort of value if it is existing in the list. If not, it will throw an error saying that it does not exist. So this can be used for your searching, one of the searching mechanisms. Okay. So then we have count. So my list dot count, I'll give 4. It says 1. Why? Because how many occurrences of 4 are there? Just 1, right? So I will insert one more 4 into this by saying append twice. Now my list contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Why is that? Because I added the same append one more time, right? I can use extend and give 4, 4. I can do that, or I can choose append, right? So this is the beauty of coding, guys. That is, to arrive at a solution, you really don't have to use one method, right? I can see a lot of questions saying that, can't we use this method? Can't we use that method? Of course, you can use these methods because coding is not a straightforward mechanism, right? You can do one thing in n number of ways. You can arrive at one solution through n number of paths. So that is how Python works, and that is how coding works at the end. Okay, so we have an extra element now, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 is our list. And if you say count of 4, it gives 2, right? You would have guessed it right. So it gives us the number of occurrences that it contains, right? So where can you use this? If you ask me, you can use this to identify if there is any duplicate in your list, right? Of course, there are other ways to identify it, but this is also one of the ways, right? You can identify how many uh, how many number of employees are there. You can understand how many number of designers are there, designers or developers, right? Looking at their designation, you can get the count. So there are a number of applications for this. Okay. Next, you can have, let's say, I'm going to jumble this, saying that 5, 6, 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now our list would look like 6, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Okay. So this is in an unsorted manner, right? So if someone asks you to sort them, it is as simple as writing my list dot sort. Okay. So now look at your list. So it is all in the sorted manner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, and 6, right? So in other programming languages, you might have to write a lot of lines of codes just to sort it out. So, but with Python, it is all simple and straightforward. Why is that? It is because they want you to focus on the actual problem statements rather than sitting and sorting something by yourself, writing an algorithm for it, right? Okay. So next, if you want to reverse it, you will just say my list dot reverse. And now if you look at your list, it is completely in reverse. Okay. Right. Next, if you want to clear everything in the list, just use clear. And now there is nothing. right? In order to delete all of them at once, you can use this. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Yeah. If we want the list now in original format, you will have to maintain two variables. Okay, so I can see that this is a question from one of you guys. So it is a good question, right? Some of the times you want to maintain the original order, right? For that, you can use another variable, right? Take a copy of it in other variable. It is as simple as using taking list one and list two, where your list one can be your initial list and list two can be a copy of list one, right? So then you can start modifying your list two. Therefore, your list one is going to remain intact. That is, it is going to be in your original form. And list two can go through all the modifications that you want to do. Okay. Hope that answers your question now. Okay. What is the difference between append and extend? Okay. Please tell me when to use which. Okay. So if you want to add single elements, you can use append, right? And if you already have two different lists or n number of lists, you can just use extend and concatenate them both, right? So if you want to add new items that you're dynamically adding, you can use append, right? So both can be used. And this is one of the instances where I'll emphasize again, there is no one way of reaching your destination in coding, right? Append, extend, or whatever it can be, depending on how you want to use it, you can, right? Both can be used interchangeably also. With extend, you can add single elements as well, just like what you do with append, right? So there is no issues on that. Okay. So explain pop again. So pop is nothing but it is going to take the index. So it is going to remove the element from the particular index. If I say remove that is pop of 3 in this array. So 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. It is going to remove this, okay, from the list. Okay. All right, let's get back. We have a limited amount of time. So, right. One moment. So we understood the data types, different kinds of data structures, right? So next, let us look into the operators, right? So we have arithmetic operators, where it is used to perform mathematical operations on numbers, right? So you can use addition, that is with the plus symbol, then subtraction, minus, multiplication is with the star symbol or an asterisk. Okay, we call this as an asterisk. Or if you want to keep it simple, this is nothing but a star, right? You can't use X because X is nothing but another string, right? Another alphabet. So you can't really use X there to multiply. So use this symbol. Then division with the slash, then modulus. So you know all of these. I don't really have to explain any of this to you, right? Modulus, it is going to return the remainder of the division, right? Let's say that you're trying to divide 3 with 2, right? You can't really fully divide 3, right? So in the end, you will have 1 as the remainder, which will be returned with the modulus. Okay. Then we have exponentiation. Exponentiation is nothing but the power raised to the number, right? Let's say 2 power 2 is going to give you 4, right? So similar to that, you can have n power n, anything. Then you have floor division. Floor division is nothing but the quotient of the division, right? Where you can discard the remainder. Okay, modulus is going to return the remainder and floor division is going to return the quotient. So we can look at it in the example. Okay. So let's take two variables. We don't know this. Okay. So let's take two variables, X and Y. So you can assign any value into this, right? X will be 10 and Y will be, let's say, some 3. Okay. So addition can be performed with the help of the plus operator, X plus Y. So you can see that there is an assignment and this is an expression, right? And where the assignment is to a variable. So addition is a variable which is going to contain the added value of X plus Y. So what would addition contain now? 13, right? That is, it has added 10 plus 3 and stored it with the variable addition. Then you have subtraction. X minus Y, right? And multiplication and division and so on, right? We are not going to do all of them because it is mere waste of time. It is quite simple, right? So let us look at the ones that matter, like remainder. So we want to look at the remainder X mod Y. So remainder now contains 1 because you are trying to divide X with Y, and that is 10 divided by 3 is going to give you a remainder of 1, right? So 3 multiplied by 3 is going to give you 9, and the remainder will be 1 in this case. So that is the modulus for you, which is represented by the percentage symbol. Okay. Right. And then you have exponentiation, which is represented with X star star Y, right? It is a double star. So with the multiplication, it would look something like this. All right. So this is the multiplication and this is the exponentiation. Okay, do not get confused. So multiplication is going to give you 30. That is 10 multiplied by 3 is your is 30. Okay, and exponentiation is going to give you 1000, right? That is 10 cube. Okay, 10 into 10 into 10. That is the 1000. Okay. Then you have the floor division, right? These are the not so commonly used, right? Floor division is going to give you 3 because we are trying to multiply it with 3 to get close to 10, right? So that is the floor division for you, right? I hope this is clear, simple enough, not too complicated. I hope. If yes, please type in yes. And if you have any doubt, please let me know, because this is the basic, right? You are going to use this to perform complicated operations, right? You can start writing your own expressions. You can write your own equations with the help of this, and you can solve the equations as well, right? So these are the basics for it. And when you understand the basics along with their syntax, you can start writing any complicated code that you want. Okay, I can see a lot of yeses. Great. Okay. Right. So now let us get back to our slide. And we are going to be talking about the comparison operators. Comparison operators are nothing but which are used to compare two different values, right? What is on your left-hand side is compared with what is on your right-hand side, right? Comparison can be in different forms. So you are going to check whether they're equal to each other, right? And when you try to compare something, it is always going to give you either true or false, right? When you are comparing two things, only thing that it can do is it is going to give you the output saying that whether the comparison is true or false. So if A equals to B, if 1 equals to 2, right? This is going to give you false. If 1 equals to 1, this is going to give you true, right? Then we have not equal to, right? It is going to check whether both the sides are not equal to each other. If they are not equal, then it is going to return true. So if 1 is not equal to true, sorry, if 1 is not equal to 2, this will be true, correct? Because they are actually not equal to each other, right? Then we have greater than. So whether something is greater than the other, whether something is less than the other, right? And whether something is greater than or equal to, right? So this is going to check whether they are actually greater than or equal to each other. Then less than or equal to something. Okay. So that is on the comparison operators, right? So we can look at it with examples. So let us take two variables again. A would be 5, B would be, let's say, 7. Okay, you can take any random number, doesn't really matter. First is you can check whether they are equal or not. How are you going to check? Equal, that is with the double equal to. A double equal to B. Okay, so this is going to give you what? Says false. Of course, right? 5 is not equal to 7. Okay, so it gives us false. What if it was true? A is also 5 and B is also 5. Then this becomes true, right? I hope you're getting the gist of it now. This is just going to return a Boolean value, right? Whether the comparison is right or not. That's it. And the comparison will be according to the condition. Okay. So next we can check not equal to, right? Not equal to is going to be represented with the exclamation mark followed by the equal symbol, right? So if you check not equal, it says true because 5 and 7 are not equal, right? So you can check whether something is greater than. So greater than, A is greater than B. Is 5 greater than 7? Right? It is as simple as representing this. So when your Python program is, parsed or interpreted, all these variables will be replaced with the actual values and they will be compared. But this step will not be visible to you, right? This step is internal to Python programming. So not everything is meant to be shown, that is the internal operation, because you might get confused and it is not even necessary, right? So everything will be performed internally. So this is what happens when it is interpreted. A will be replaced with the actual value of A, 5, and B will be replaced with 7, right? And it is going to check whether it is greater than or, greater than or not. Okay, in this case, it is false. Okay. Then we have less than. And A less than B, true. Let's bring this downwards so that we can actually look at what A and B are. Okay. And A is less than B, right? Then you are going to check whether they are greater than or equal to, like this. So it is going to be written with a greater than symbol along with the equal symbol, right? It is going to check both. So greater or equal, false. A is not greater than or equal to B. But what if you check the other way around? B is greater than or equal to A. It is going to return true because B is 7 and A is 5. What if both are same now, right? And we switch this. We can switch this to A and B or the other way. Both are going to be true now because both the values are equal. So it is going to check whether it is greater or equal. So therefore, A should be either greater or equal. So you can change it to any value that is 7 or greater than 7. So it can be 1000 as well. And it is going to return true now. But what if it is just less than 7? 6 or 6.5? It says false. So you can add different kind of values as well. Doesn't mean that you compare integers with integers, floating with floating. No, there's nothing like that, right? So you are going to compare it with different set of values. Okay, then what else? That's pretty much it with the comparison operators, right? I think we have covered all of them. Okay, including the not equal to as well. Right, any questions in this before we move on to the next one? Can we use string values to check true or false? Yes, of course. You can check whether two strings are equal or not, right? So there is no string greater than another string, right? You can check the string length if you want. You can compare the string length, but you can't really check whether a string is greater than or equal to or less than or equal to another string, right? Because that really makes no sense. You are going to check these in the form of numbers. But with strings, you can obviously check equal to or not equal to, right? How to compile and run using keyboard keys. Yes, this is what I said yesterday, right? So you can use Shift, hold down the Shift button and press Enter, right? So when you do that, you will be essentially executing that particular cell and moving on to the next cell, right? If I just type a equals to 20 and hit shift and enter, what it does is it executes this particular cell and moves on to the next line by adding another cell. Okay, let's say that you don't want to move to the next line, you just want to execute the same line. Maybe you want to execute it multiple times, who knows, right? There can be different use cases of it. So in that case, hold down the control button, okay? Control button and press enter, right? You will be able to execute it and stay in the same line, right? You can see that this number is changing. 144, it will change to 145, 146, and so on. As many number of times as I want, I can execute it. Okay, so that is one way. And the other way is you can run it using these options, right? Run selected cell and insert below, right? Run selected cell and do not advance, right? So you can use them and run all above selected cells and run all the cells, right? And you can restart them using the kernel. So if there is a complex operation running for a longer time, you can interrupt the kernel here. Or if you simply want to restart it, maybe there is an error or something like that, or you can restart it. And you can clear the inputs as well, right? Sometimes you want to keep the outputs. I mean the outputs. So sometimes you want to keep the outputs. So these are the outputs that we can see, right? So whatever we have given as the inputs will define some sort of outputs, right? So you might want to preserve them. So in that case, you'll not clear them. Okay, you'll just restart and run. Okay, that is how versatile this Jupyter notebook is. You can customize it in any way that you want. Okay, so just explore it. I know that we have talked about this environment. Just explore it, right? These are all pretty simple. See, are these complex operations for you guys? Of course not. Like undo, redo, undo cell operations, select all cells. See, these are quite simple. You just have to explore them. Okay, so take this as the assignment and just explore the environment and explore the variables. Try to break your code, right, by adding something really crazy. Just really go crazy, guys. Okay, so that is how you actually learn when it comes to coding. Okay, so as many number of errors that you produce, and when you're able to understand these errors, so you are essentially understanding the language much better. Okay, right. Does coding have a specific way to do it, or it can be done in many ways? Of course, it can be done in many ways, and these many ways do not have any limit. It can be 2 ways, it can be 5, the number can be 50, 100, and so on, right? There are n number of ways. So take 5 people in a team and provide them the same problem statement, right? Tell them to reverse a string or tell them to find the maximum in a string, right? They are going to use different methodologies to arrive at the solution, right? Let's say that you ask them to create an encryption format. So they are going to use different set of methodologies to arrive at this. So there is really no one way to arrive at a solution when it comes to coding. Only thing is you just have to understand whatever is being taught in this course so that you get a grasp of the programming language. Okay. So nobody can teach you every single thing. When I say every single thing, you can build a lot of different kinds of tools, right? You can build a calculator, you can build an advanced scientific calculator, you can build a shopping site, right? You can build, something in the e-commerce, you can build a payment gateway, right? You will not be generally wherever you go, you will not be given an understanding of all of these. You can't really do that because there are millions of things existing in this world, right? But you will be given the knowledge of how to navigate with the programming language. With that, you will be able to create anything that you want, right? So if you understand these basics, right, you can create anything. For example, what we learned here, we just learned addition, subtraction, the floor division, exponentiation, and multiplication, and so on, right? Including the modulus. But with this, will you be able to solve an equation? Will you be able to create an equation like x square plus y square plus z square? You can do that. See, you know how to use exponentiation now, right? You know how to use addition, subtraction. So you can create your own equation out of it and you can solve it, right? So if you just know these basics, that is more than enough. Rest, all of them will come from your brain, correct? You don't really have to be taught every single thing. You just have to be taught these basics, how to understand a language, right? How to code. Okay. Rest will be the logic that you write. Whatever we are writing here, these are the kind of logics, right? So you'll check whether A is greater than B. If that is true, you're going to print something else, you're going to print something else. So that is called as a logic. It's a simple logic, right? You are going to build these such logics by using the basics of any programming language. Okay. I hope that answers most of your questions, guys, right? Okay, right. So let us move on to the next topic. right? The assignment operators are nothing but where you use to assign values to the variables, right? It is as simple as saying that a equals to something, b equals to something, right? Along with that, we have some shorthand notation that help us to do the operations. For example, if you say a plus equals to b, it is going to add a along with the b, right? That is, it adds the right operand to the left operand and assigns the result to the left operand. So it does a plus b. Specifically, if you want to understand with the programming itself, it is going to do b plus a, and it is going to store the value in a, right? So from the right side, so you have b on the right side, a on the left side. So b plus a, and a will be containing the value, right? Similarly, you have subtraction assignment, multiplication, and division, along with the rest of them. Modulus, exponentiation, and the floor division assignment. Okay, so it is pretty much all the same, but we are going to look at these as an example. Okay, again, we are going to take x and y. Okay, and check this. So when I do this, x plus equal to y. Okay, so what it means, first we are going to check the value. Okay, x contains now 13. Okay, and y contains the same value 3. It says the right operand will be operated depending on the operator here, right? With the left operand, and the left operand is going to save the value, or it is going to store the value of it. Okay, so therefore x is going to be 13 because it did a y plus x and stored it in x. So 3 plus 10 is going to be 13, and y is still 3 because we did not really change any value there. Okay. Similarly, you have other operators as well. Okay. Now x minus equals to y is going to give you what? So x is going to be 10. 1 second. So x value has changed, right? So it gave us 10 because x had changed to 13. Okay, let us disregard this for now. Yes. So if you try to look at the value now, x is 7, right? It is nothing but your arithmetic operation, but in a shorter format. Okay, there is nothing really special in this, but it is nothing but a shorter way of doing it. So this is another way of saying x equals to x minus y, right? And we wrote it in the shorthand notation. That's it. Okay. Similarly, you have other operators as well. That is for the multiplication, division, modulus, exponentiation, and floor division as well. Okay. So I hope this is clear. This doesn't require any special explanation, I believe, because the operation is going to be the same. Okay. If you want to show, if you want me to show you this again, just let me know. If not, we can move on to the next topic, right? So if we do x equals to minus y, what will be the outcome? This is not really a computer related problem. Just look at that, So the question here is x equals to minus y, right? So the answer is right here, right? Y is what? 3. And you are going to negate it. Correct. And you are going to assign the negative value to x. Right? Now your x is minus 3. That's it. It's a mathematical problem that you just asked, right? It is not really related to the programming. Okay. So in order to avoid such conflicts, we have operators like this. First, you'll have the modification operator, then the assignment operator. So the modification operator can be your plus, minus, your multiplication, or the exponentiation, or the floor division, and so on, right? So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Negate means the complement. It's negate is nothing but you're just changing the positive value into the negative value. That's it. Okay. It's quite simple. It is nothing but mathematics. We are just doing that in the programmatical way. Okay. So let's move on to the next topic then, guys. So next we have the logical operators. Okay, so this is one of the most important ones that we are going to deal with, because everything in our programming will be eventually some sort of condition, some sort of logical operation, right? So you can write conditions with the help of your uh, logical operators, which are and, or, and not. Okay, and is going to return true if both operands are true. That is A and B, A or B, and not of A or not of B, right? This, you must have learned this, right? This is nothing but logic, right? So why don't we use a real life scenario, right? A real use case. Okay. So in this, let's say that there is an employee who has an access card. Okay. So they have an access card and they have entered the building. Okay. But the access card has been disabled, or maybe the biometric verification is having an issue, right? So you need both. You need to have an access card which contains your photo and your identification and everything. Along with that, you need to have a biometric verification, which is going to let you in eventually, right? So let's take an example of that. Okay, we'll say we'll take a variable has access card equals to true. So imagine that you have the access card, but is biometric verified, which is false. Okay, so then you'll have to check. Okay, how are you going to check the conditions? So I'll say both the conditions, right? If you want to check both the conditions, what are you going to add? Has access card and, okay, and is the keyword here, is biometric verified. Okay. So if you look at this, both the conditions, it returns false. Why does it do that? Because this is the logical AND operation, right? So it is going to check whether both of them are true. Okay. So AND operation is what? It requires, both the sides to be true. Both the left hand side and the right hand side of it need to be true. Only then it will be true, right? What if this is false and this is true? It is going to be false, right? This is false and this is true. Still false. Both are false. It is still false. Only thing is you have to satisfy both the condition, that is, has access card should be true, and also the biometric verification should be true. Let us say both of them are true. Okay. In this case, you can see that both conditions are satisfied. Okay. Okay. So that is the AND operation. Okay. So let's keep this as false for our understanding. So next is the OR operation. So has access card or is biometric verified. Okay. So this can be assigned to another variable, right? Any one condition. So any one condition. Okay. So the variable names are like this because I want you guys to understand with the help of the variable names, right, what it contains. So we just want any one condition to be satisfied. So that is the OR operation, which is what returns true, because one of these is true, right? So what if you change this to false and this to true? Okay. And now this is still true. Okay. What if you change both of them to false? Right now it is false because it requires at least one of the conditions to be true. Okay, that is the OR operation for you. And is what? It requires both sides to be true, and OR is any one of them should be true. Okay. If someone does not know what we have declared, but we need to find exactly what is true and what is false. Okay, so to answer this question, you can just print and you'll get the value, right? Correct. Let's say that you don't know where it is. You now there is no visibility of it, right? You just have to print the value and you can see what it contains. That's it. Okay, it is as simple as that. Right. So next is the inverse condition. Inverse is what? The NOT operator. So it is with the NOT. Okay. NOT of anything. So let's say is biometric verified. Okay. And you'll assign it to inverse condition. And you can check that inverse condition is true now. So let us remove a few of them so that the values are clearly visible. So we are taking E is biometric verified. So the value is false. The initial value is false. So now it says not of false. Not of false is nothing but the opposite, true. And not of true is going to be false. So let's check this. So true. And now if you run this, it is going to give you false because it is applied a not operation. Okay. So that is the logical operators for you. Any questions in this? Because this is going to be the one which you're going to use a lot when it comes to conditioning. Okay. Are is the person eligible to vote? Is the person so for that you are going to check, is the person of age greater than 18, right? And you're also going to check whether the nationality is Indian. So it has to be both has to be satisfied. What if the nationality is of some other country but they are of age 25? You can't say that they can vote because the nationality does not match. So you have to use AND operator there, right? So I hope you're able to understand these examples, right? This is how you're going to be using the conditions going forward. So we will be looking at it in the class, from tomorrow. Okay. Right. For now, these are the basics. Just sync these in. Okay. Sync it in and try these out by yourself. So after this, you will be able to start executing the code. Okay. Right. So the not operator, okay, once again. So not is nothing but it is going to reverse the value. Okay. So if you say inverse condition is biometric verified. Okay. Is biometric verified as what? True. and inverse condition is going to print true. Okay, the same value. But you can choose to negate it. Now it is as simple as negating the value. So therefore, not of true is going to be false. Okay, that's pretty much it. Okay, any other questions in this? Okay, so difference between pop and remove. Okay, guys. So pop is going to remove and return the element which you which you specify the index, where you specify the index. Let's say that you take a list and say uh, pop of 1. Okay, it is going to take the first element. So let's see, where do we have this? Yeah, so we have a list here. If you say pop of 1, it is going to take this, okay, and remove it from the list. Okay, remove as in it is just going to delete it. Okay, and remove is going to delete the first occurrence of any specified value. So let's say you will say remove 2. Okay, it is directly going to remove this particular element. We are not talking about the index here. So with the pop, you are talking about index. With remove, you're talking about the element. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Conditional operator in Java will support in Python too. Okay, so that's more of a question where you're trying to connect Java with Python. So the concept is going to be the same, guys. The conditional operator that you see in any other language is going to be the same. It is nothing but the logic that we have. Is the math going to change? Plus, minus, division, whatever it is, we have modulus and everything. Is it going to change when you're navigating between languages? Of course not, right? So it is going to be same in Java. It is going to be same in Python as well. Okay. So please explain the biometric verification. See, we did not really do any sort of biometric verification here. It was just a real life scenario that we used. So if you have to allow the employee, right, we are going to say that they need to have the access card with them, and also their biometric should be verified. So both has to be satisfied like this. Both needs to be true. Okay. So you'll say is employee allowed? Okay, so this condition is going to determine whether the employee is going to be allowed inside the office or not. Okay, so if you look at this, it is going to return true. So the employee is going to be allowed because he has the access card and also the biometric is verified. Okay, so if one of them is false, let's say that they have the access card, but it is not working at the moment. So then what happens? The employee will not be allowed. Okay. And if both of them are false, if they do not have the access card and the biometric cannot be verified, then still the employee will not be allowed. Okay. So this is, we just used a real world scenario to explain the logic. That's it. Okay, don't really think that this is something an explanation of biometric. No, not really. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Akib. Right, anyone else? Any other questions? I hope today's class was informative and you are able to learn all the basics that you need to gear up to create something great. Okay, we are going to start writing the code right from tomorrow's class. Okay. Yes, you can install Anaconda, you can install anything else, if you want to work with Python. But for this, to make this easier, we have our Jupyter notebook and running under the Python 3 environment. And we also have the Google Colab. Okay, right. Any other question before we wrap it up for today? Even if we write a bunch of code in a file, will Python interpret it? Yes. Yes, Puneet, it is going to interpret all of it. So you can have just one line of code, you can have 50 or you can have 5,000 lines of code within one .py file, and Python is going to read through all of it and it is going to interpret. Okay. I hope there are no more questions. I guess we can wind it up here. Amar, anything else to add?
Yes.
So-
So guys, if you have any query or question for me, please let me know. Attendance, I already shared that, sir. Today I joined the session. I missed yesterday's attendance. So what to do, Evo? What is the way? You can tell me. We'll go for the same. Sir, I joined only now. How can I listen to yesterday's and today's class again? So you can go through the recorded sessions via LMS or else YouTube. YouTube participant, any query or question, if you are enjoying the like, please don't forget to like the session. YouTube channel name, you can search with XLR Solutions. Kushi, what about the attendance? What you want to say? But attending the meeting from tomorrow, will we able to know whether our attendance is marked or not? Hey, you are filling the attendance form. After filling or submitting that, you are able to see as well, na? Your attendance is marked successfully or response is submitted like that. So you have to check on your own. Guys, if you're facing any difficulty to access the LMS, drop an email to edl@xlr.com. Okay. Yes, guys, we'll upload the material over the LMS. Okay. You're welcome. Yes, if you have don't, sir, after submitting the attendance, it comes like yes, right. Absolutely. Guys, 60% attendance is mandatory to get the certificate. A few participants asking me about the yesterday's attendance. I don't know how to share that, but I'm not able to share. We are not able to go in the yesterday, right? If you forgot your lunch or dinner or the yesterday, today you are going to take it double. Hey, yesterday night I forgot to take a lunch. I am feeling sleepy, I slept directly. So today you are going to have a double lunch, no, no, or double dinner. Oh, so don't ask about the yesterday's link as well. Today's, yeah, today I will share. Today I already shared, I will share once again. YouTube participant, अटेंडन्स लिंक सेंड करा सर. 3 days झालं. कोणते 3 days झालं गजानन शिंदे? आम्ही तर सेशन चालू करून आज 2 days झालं फक्त. Zoom link is not available on dashboard. How it's possible? I only pasted that. It's there. Sir, two people can attend in one device, sir? Yes, they can. YouTube channel name is XLR Solutions. How are you, sir? I am good. I hope all of you are doing well. Thank you so much. Sir, explain once again. What I have to explain? What's your question? Oh, guys, I am from Pune. Send karo, sir. I mean, highlighted classes which we had missed yesterday and today. You can go through the recordings. Okay, don't worry about that. Today's session was not helpful for non-IT peoples. Basics are really important to understand the concept directly. Execution is really hard to understand to the concept. Okay, if you are from non-IT, definitely you can go through the recorded sessions and try to understand that, because whatever we plan for 2 hours, we have to cover that. You are welcome, guys. One time we attended, it means okay. Yes, you have to mark the attendance only one time. I am also from Pune, sir. Oh, great. What is your name? Yeah, my name is completely seeing on your home or your dashboard on your screen. Myself, Amar, and I am from the XLR team. Okay, 1K and is not logging error show 1K completed. So in such situation, you can just switch to the YouTube. Okay, we are live on YouTube as well. How can we do the other certificates which we already completed, like Chat GPT and AI? So my dear Bhargav, coming to that certificate, so we are not done with that program. That program is still going on. So we're not able to give the certificate. It's going on, no? Zoom link is not available in the. It's available, yeah. You can refresh your dashboard. Sir, what is the LMS? Could you please clarify once? So LMS is a learning management system, and we used to provide the recorded sessions, then material, then attendance, all these things for you lifetime over the LMS. You can access that anytime. Okay. I'm pursuing MBA at Senior Institute. Great, Saurav. Sir, is over. Yes, we're done with the day. I'm just taking the questions. If you have any query or question, be there, ask me. I will help to sort it out. If you don't have any query or question, you can leave the session, enjoy your dinner, take care, and come back tomorrow at same time. Sir, notes, sir. Yeah, notes will upload. No, don't worry. No, guys, I also have to take. Where and when? Be like you're asking me for. Hey guys, don't ask me like where, when, how. At least share your complete question with me. Okay. Yes, guys, you can leave. If you don't have query question, you can leave the session. And if you're facing any difficulty to access the LMS, don't worry, drop an email to EDL team. They will check your account status. Okay. So Badri from the YouTube, drop an email. Definitely our team will connect with you. Thank you so much, sir. You are welcome. Please share email, sir. Okay, I'm sharing email ID. EDL team email ID is edl@xlr.com. Okay. One device we can give two people's attendance, sir. Yeah, you can give, but it's depend upon the email ID. Okay, but make sure that two peoples are really attending the program. Okay.
Amar, some of them are asking for the LMS link. Can you please share that?
LMS link. Oh, okay, I'm sharing that, guys. So LMS URL is onlinelearning.xlr.com. Okay. There are Prasanna. I don't understand English language, sir. But you tap that in the English, definitely you are understanding little bit. So you can work, you can go through the sessions while learning the Python, definitely you will get to know how to talk in the English as well and how to write it down. So don't worry about that. So be focused in the session. Okay. We really appreciate if you teach basics because execution of codes to help non-IT students. Okay. Where you share the attendance link, sir? In the chat box only. I don't know any language. Hey, I also don't know now how to answer your question. Yes, you will get the certificate. Guys, attendance, I already shared that. If you want, I will share it once again. Guys, if I'm answering each and every question, don't be a smart. Huh? Don't ask any unnecessary question. Yeah, don't forget to mark your attendance because I know that you are there in the session, you are getting the knowledge, but secondary thing, certificate is secondary, knowledge is first always. But for certificate, you have to mark your attendance. Sir, is there any specific LMS app that we can download from Play Store? No. Hmm. We are really experiencing great lesson. Thank you, XLR, for such a great services. Is there any paid training session provided? Kindly let us know. Yes, we are providing a paid training program as well. And our heart is like data science, data analyst, full stack development like that. Okay, sorry for disturbance. So there is one question from Bhargav. If we listen the recorded sessions, which were already completed in the last few months, did we get the certificate? No. You have to attend the live session. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. It's very useful for us. Thank you. Guys, I think it's already almost 9:15. So we'll wind up for the day and whatever your question, we'll take it on tomorrow. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your efforts to joining the session on time, being there patiently. So once again, thank you.